So now we know that if we have to subnet C class network, and we have to do the fixed length subnet masking, how many bit we have to use host bit as a your subnet bit. So it could be either one subnet, one host bit as a subnet, or two host bit as a subnet, and three host, or four, five, or six, maximum from 1 to 6. Now when we are saying that in first case that if we want to have two subnets, or in another way if we are going to put, that mean if we want to have 126 hosts up to, then we have to use one host bit as a subnet. That means we can create two subnets. But the main thing is which subnets we are going to create. So how we are going to write those subnet, that is the most important thing. And same way, if here we want to create four subnets, then how we are going to, what will be the different value of these subnets, that is very important. Same way, these if we are going to use three host bits as a subnet bit, eight subnets are going to create. Now how what is the different value of that subnet that we are going to create, that is again very important. Same way, we have to calculate it. If we are going to have a four host bit as a subnet, then 16 different subnets will be available. In that 16 subnets, we have to see what are the possible subnets are there, what are their values, and later on we have to also find out what are the valid hosts in these subnets, and what is the broadcast address in these subnets, and what is the network number, that we have to calculate. So for that we can use two type of methods, that mean one is detailed method and second is a little bit shortcut. So we will be looking at both these methods. First, let us go towards understanding how to create subnets by using a detailed method, or understanding what is the detailed method of creating subnets. It is a little bit more complex than that shortcuts. Shortcuts are always when you just do not want to go into too many calculations. Just we want to, our main purpose is to create the subnets without understanding most of the inner working. But in the detailed way we want to go into very much detail. So let us see what is the meaning of this detailed way of creating subnets. So in our case we want to create two subnets. So for two subnets, how many bits we need? For that we need one bit. That means we need to use one of host bit as a subnet bit, and we are representing that subnets with this s bit. And or we can put that in other way, we want to do the have 120 hosts per subnet. Now for 120, if we are going to say use say 6 bit, only 64 minus 2, 62 are possible. That means we have to use 7 bits. So for host, then what is the remaining bit? One remaining bit is there, so we can use that for subnet. That means always we can put the question regarding the that we want to create two subnets, or we can put it another way. We want to create a network, a subnet having 120 host, or we can specify 126 hosts. So here what we are going to do in this case, now when we are going to create the subnet, when we are creating the subnets, we are now using one of host bit as a subnet. Now how many values are possible of here subnets? Either it is going to be 0 in binary, or maximum it is going to 1. That means how many possible values are there? 0 and 1. So how I am going to calculate the subnet? That means if it is 0, then what will be the subnet? 0, and we all know that host values can be all 0 minimum, and it can be all 1. And what will be going to be your first network? It is going to be 0, because if we are going to multiply 128 with 0, it will become 0. That means because we are doing the subnetting of 192.168.11.0 network, 11 network. So what will be the first subnet? In our case, the first subnet is going to be 192.168.11.0. Now what is the other value possible of subnet? It is 1. So if we are going to multiply this positional value of this bit, which is 128, 128 into 1, 128 will be the total value. That means second network is going to be 192.168.11.128. So we have got two subnets available. One is going to be 192.168.11.0, and another subnet is going to be 192.168.11.128. Now what about if we are going to suppose we want to create 4 subnets. Now for subnet, how many bits we required? We need, if we are going to use 1 bit only, 2 networks or subnets are possible. So we have to use or we can say we have to borrow 2 bit from the host portion. So for 4 subnets we are going to use 2 bits as a subnets bits. And how many bits are remaining for host? 6 bits. Now always please remember this when we are talking about host bits, the minimum value is 0, which is used for your network ID. And what is the value maximum? It is 11111, which is used for broadcasting purpose. But here we are interested, when we are calculating the subnet, we are interested only in the value, that means the minimum value. Now how many subnets are possible? So the value, if we are going to specify in binary, the first value can be 0.0, second 0.1, third is 1.0, and fourth is going to subnet is going to be 1.1. Now if we are going to convert this into decimal format, please remember, for network all these bits are going to be 0. So what will be the total value if we are going to calculate? That means our first subnet will have 0 in the end. So what will be effectively 192.168.11.0. And what about this? 128 multiplied by 0, 64 multiplied by 1. So total it is going to be 64. So second subnet is going to be 192.168.11.64. Now what about this? Third subnet is 1.0. So if we are going to convert into decimal, it will be 128 plus 0, it will be 128. That means third subnet is going to be 192.168.11.128. And what about the fourth one? 1 in both position, it is 1. So 128 plus 64, 194. That means 4 different subnets are possible. So if we are going into detail, the various possible binary values that 2-bit subnet can have is 4. So we have calculated. That means we are going into the detailed way. Now what about this? That means we want to have the 8 subnets, or we can put in other way, we want to have 30 hosts or 28 hosts per network. So if we are talking about 8 subnets, so how many bits we have to use? 3. Or if we are putting in other way, that means we want 30 hosts per subnets. For 30 we will be needing 5 host bit. So we can put in both way. So that means in this case we will need 3 or we will be using 3 host bit as a subnet bits. Now what are the possible value? That is very important. Later on we have to perform this all these calculations. So the possible values are 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1. We are writing it in the increasing value sense, these in incremental. So 7th will be your 110111. If you are going to find, these are total 8. Now what is the position value of this? 128, 64, 32. Now it is all 0, so value will be 0. Again remember, host bits for network are always, these all are going to be 0. So what will be the first subnet? 0. That means 192.168.11.0. Then if we are going to multiply this with now what is this? 128 into 0, it is 0. 64 into 0, 0. 32. So it is going to be 32 second subnet. What about third? It is 0, it is 0, it is 64. And here it is 0, 64 plus 32, 96. Here it is 0, 0. This is your 128 position value. 128 is the next subnet. Here it is 101, 128 plus 32, 160 is the your sixth subnet. And what about this? 110, that means 128 plus 64, 192 is the next network. And what about the last network? 111, 128 plus 64 plus 32, it is 224. That means we have got the networks from 192, 168, 11.0. Then we have got 32, 64, 96, 128, 160, 192, and then last one is your 192, 168, 11.228. Total 8 subnets are available, and on which we can have how many hosts possible? Up to 30 hosts it is possible, although it is 32, but because 2 are reserved, so total maximum 30 hosts per subnets are available. Same way we can calculate for others. So let me quickly do the calculation here. We want to have 16 subnets, or we can put in other way, we want 14 hosts per subnets. So how many bits we will be requiring? We have to use 4 host bit as subnet bits. So here we are got 4 bits. Now how many values are possible? 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. That way we are going to write different 16 values are possible. And if we are going to talk about the minimum, is it will be starting from 0, 0, 0, and maximum it is going to be 1, 1, 1, 1. Now if we are going to perform the, what is the position value of this? 128, 64, 32, 16. And if we are going to multiply it with 0, the total will be 0. What about this? All 3's are 0. It is 1 here, that means next is going to be 16. Then if we are going to calculate, this is 32, then 48, 64. That means if you are going to wonder, it is increasing by 16. And look at this, there is similarity between that. That means there is another way that it is increasing by 16. So in the end it is going to be 240. Same way, if you are going to observe one very good thing, when we say that we have got a 5 bit remaining as a host bit, 2 to the power 5, that means 32. Look at the difference between the networks, 0, 32, 64. That means we are going to add, and the last is going to 224, because if we are going to add further 32, that will become 256. That is not possible. So that method we will be going using as a shortcut method. And what about this? Here the 6 bits are remaining for your host portion. 2 power 6 means 64. So look at the difference between the network. 0, 64 plus 64, 128 plus 64, then it is 192. Same way here. Now if we want to have up to 128 system as a network, not exactly 126, then we will need your 7 as a host. So what is the difference? 0 plus 128, that is 128.